Welcome to the Passport Soccer 2025 CONCACAF Gold Cup Preview, Group C. Let's jump right in. Panama will be competing in their 13th CONCACAF Gold Cup. The Central American nation has a population of 4.3 million, with Panama City being its capital and largest city. The national team are nicknamed Los Canaleros, or the Canal Men, in reference to the country's famous Panama Canal. Panama enters this summer with real aspirations of lifting their first ever trophy following an impressive run in the CONCACAF Nations League. The current side will feel they are as close as ever to achieving what previous generations were unable to. Though Panama don't necessarily have the biggest names on paper, they're extremely well coached under Thomas Christensen and have caused the traditional bigger teams in CONCACAF plenty of problems over the last few years. That includes beating the United States away from home twice in the last 2 years, once in the Copa America and then again in the Nations League. Panama have reached the final of the Gold Cup on 3 separate occasions, in 2005, 2013, and the most recent edition in 2023. Los Canaleros will hope 2025 is the year they can finally lift the trophy. Panama qualified for the Gold Cup via the Nations League, defeating Central American rivals Costa Rica over 2 legs in the quarterfinals. An impressive 1-0 win away in San Jose, courtesy of a Jose Fajardo penalty, was followed up by a 2-2 draw in Panama City, sending Panama through 3-2 on aggregate. Thomas Christensen has been in charge of Panama since 2020, and though he failed to guide Panama to the World Cup in 2022, there have been some impressive results, and the belief in Panama is that the former Spain international can lead this group to a Gold Cup trophy and a trip to the World Cup in 2026. Thomas Christensen is likely to line Panama up with 5 at the back, especially if they're to reach the knockout rounds and play some of the bigger nations in the tournament. Orlando Mosquera is the current number 1 and should start in goal. Jose Cordoba of Norwich City is one of the standouts in a strong back 5. In the midfield, Anibal Godoy, who is only 2 caps away from becoming Panama's all-time top appearance maker, Jose Fajardo is likely to lead the line. Panama begin their Gold Cup journey in Carson, California against Guadeloupe, before traveling to Austin, Texas for their final 2 group stage matches against Guatemala and Jamaica. Jamaica are entering their 16th Gold Cup. The Caribbean island has a population of 2.8 million and its capital is Kingston. Jamaica's national team is known as the Reggae Boys, a reference to reggae music which emerged from Jamaica in the 1960s. Similarly to group rivals Panama, Jamaica are also looking to get over that final hurdle and secure a major trophy for the first time in the nation's history. Back-to-back finals appearances in 2015 and 2017 were the closest Jamaica has come to lifting the Gold Cup. A heavy recruitment of dual nationals, most of whom were born in England, make up a large majority of the current Reggae Boys squad. There's plenty of talent, and it's up to manager Steve McLaren to piece that talent together to be able to compete with the top teams in the region. Jamaica had a very disappointing last summer in the Copa America, losing all 3 group stage matches, which ultimately led to the dismissal of then head coach Heimer Hallgrimsson. Steve McLaren and Jamaica will hope for a much different result this summer. Qualification for the Gold Cup wasn't as straightforward as Jamaica might have liked. After losing in the Nations League quarterfinals to the United States, Jamaica were drawn in a home-and-home against St. Vincent and the Grenadines for a spot at the Gold Cup. A 1-1 draw away had many in Jamaica concerned, but Jamaica ultimately got the job done with a 3-0 win in the reverse fixture in Kingston. Steve McLaren took the job as Jamaica head coach in July of 2024. His only previous international management job was as head coach of his native England from 2006 to 2007, a campaign which saw England fail to reach Euro 2008. McLaren has had mixed reviews at the start of his coaching journey in Jamaica, but it may be too early to make a full assessment. It's a big summer ahead with World Cup qualifying and the Gold Cup. These should be a good indicator of which direction things are trending for McLaren. Steve McLaren has lined Jamaica up in a few different formations since taking charge, but he's likely to go with a 4-2-3-1 formation. Captain Andre Blake is expected to start in goal. Brentford's Ethan Pinnock is set to anchor the back 4, and recent dual national switch Isaac Hayden is expected to patrol the center of the park just in front of the defense. A formidable attacking front 4 which includes exciting wingers Leon Bailey of Aston Villa and Demarai Gray of Al Ettifaq in Saudi Arabia. Club Tijuana's Shamar Nicholson is likely to lead the line, with Mikel Antonio still recovering from injury. Jamaica's first 2 Gold Cup fixtures will take place in California, first in Carson against Guatemala, before traveling to the Bay Area to play Guadeloupe and San Jose. The Reggae Boys will close out group play against Panama in Austin, Texas. Guatemala will be competing in their 20th Gold Cup, this being their third straight appearance after missing the 2017 and 2019 editions through FIFA suspension. Guatemala is the most populous country in Central America with 18 million inhabitants. Its capital and largest city is Guatemala City. The 2023 Gold Cup was a positive step forward for Guatemala as they reached the knockout rounds for the first time since 2011. Though Guatemala fell in the quarterfinals to Jamaica, a sense of optimism was felt in Guatemalan football that had been missing for some time. Most of Guatemala's squad ply their trade in the Guatemalan top flight. In fact, only 4 of the 23 players in their last squad play outside of Guatemala. Guatemala were once champions of CONCACAF, winning the 1967 CONCACAF Championship in Honduras. This current generation feels quite a ways off from doing what the 1967 squad achieved, but they should be very well supported in the United States this summer and will hope to improve on their 2023 quarterfinal finish. After finishing third in their Nations League group behind Costa Rica and Suriname, Guatemala were drawn against Guyana in the final round of CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifying. Guatemala stumbled in the first leg away from home, losing 3-2. Under massive pressure at home in the second leg, Guatemala were able to pull out a 2-0 victory, advancing 4-3 on aggregate. Luis Fernando Tena has been in charge of Guatemala since 2021. All of Tena's coaching experience prior to becoming Guatemala head coach had been either with Mexican clubs or the Mexico national team. Tena famously led Mexico to a gold medal at the 2012 Summer Olympics. Tena likes to line his teams up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Nicolas Hagan is expected to start in goal after missing the matches against Guyana. Center back Jose Carlos Pinto is Guatemala's captain and is likely to be joined in defense by Aaron Herrera, who was born in the United States. Another dual national addition, Nathaniel Mendez Lang, has been influential since making the switch from England. Charleston Battery striker Rubio Rubin, another dual national, is expected to lead the line. Guatemala opened their Gold Cup campaign against Jamaica and California. They'll meet the Reggae Boys only 6 days prior in World Cup qualifying. Guatemala will then travel to Texas to take on Panama and close out group play against Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe has a population of 379,000 and its capital is Basse-Terre. The Caribbean island is an overseas department and region of France, meaning it's technically part of France and is therefore not eligible to become a member of FIFA. Though not a member of FIFA, Guadeloupe are able to compete in the CONCACAF Gold Cup and will be appearing in their 6th edition since making their debut in 2007. The national team's nickname is Les Guada Boys, Guada being a shortened way to refer to the island of Guadeloupe. Though they're unable to compete in FIFA competitions, this Guadeloupe squad has plenty of talent. A large portion of the current squad were born in mainland France with Guadeloupean heritage. Guadeloupe's maiden journey at the Gold Cup in 2007 was a historic one, reaching the semi-finals of the competition and beating the likes of Canada and Honduras along the way. However, success has been hard to come by in recent editions, as Guadeloupe have failed to advance from the group stage since 2009. That's the task at hand for head coach Jocelyn Angloma, who was a part of that famous 2007 squad. Guadeloupe's path to the Gold Cup started in the CONCACAF Nations League, where they had a disappointing group stage and were relegated from League A. From there, Guadeloupe played in a Nations League play-in against the Cayman Islands to eventually reach the final round of qualification, where they were drawn against Nicaragua. Guadeloupe impressively won 1-0 both home and away to secure their spot for this summer's tournament. Jocelyn Angloma is one of the more famous names in Guadeloupe football. Born in Guadeloupe, Angloma represented France at international level in the early 1990s. And Angloma has been in charge of Guadeloupe since 2017, making him the longest tenured coach competing at this Gold Cup. Angloma is expected to line Guadeloupe up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Bryce Cognard of Châteauroux is the preferred goalkeeper. In defense, key center back Andrew Gravillon is expected to miss the tournament through injury, so big shoes to fill for center back pairing Santini and Cavar. Guadeloupe's main threats in attack are Matthias Phaeton of CSKA Sofia and Thierry Ambrose of Kortrijk, both of whom will be relied on heavily for creativity and goals. Guadeloupe opened their Gold Cup campaign against group favorites Panama and Carson, California before traveling to San Jose to play Jamaica. They will close out group play against Guatemala and Houston, Texas. Thanks for watching. Let me know which 2 nations you think will advance to the knockout rounds from Group C.